Alright guys, this is Captain Firebeard. What I want to start out with real quick, just while some nonsense playing in the background, just some running around on the fucking mount, trying to get to the next uh, quest. Um, like I said in the last video, this one is going to be pretty choppy, especially towards the end. Because towards the end, that's when the video encoder really started having problems. And I never noticed until I looked back at the actual recorded footage. And, it's just a bit too out of the way to make a new character just to record that footage. So I'm just going to try to cut through a lot of this as much as possible. This whole part is literally running through the story of Khenarthi's Roost, so you're just going to have to bear with me a bit. But yeah, see, like right here, you can see it kind of starting, and it's not too good. Um, it's really bad at the end. But bear with me because the next part that comes out, there's no choppiness to it. I made sure I watched back and I watched as I was recording to make sure there was no kind of choppiness going on. Here's the example of an actual sky shard that I was pointing out in the first part, the tutorial, because they have a sky shard that's like a tutorial sky shard, but it doesn't give you a skill point or doesn't count to the collection because you collect 3 of them and then you get a skill point. It was just pretty much for tutorial sake, hey, transfer power here. But anyway, that being said, just bear with it because it's even hard for me to watch with all the choppiness. But the second part coming out is actually going to be pretty good. So the first thing you notice me doing is I went and started this quest called Tears of the Two Moons. And in this quest, you've got a decent amount of XP you get from it just from completing the quest. You get a few mobs you get to kill along the way. It's pretty quick, simple. You just go here, hit this tomb, technically a ward, and then you go to the other side, hit another tomb, and then you go inside. And then you get your first kind of puzzle, except for, like, it's not too hard of a puzzle. It's just a moon phase. You guess the moon phase, which is just like the real life moon phase. Yeah. But anyway, see, we're going to sprint here, and then we're going to go to the next one, and then we just literally go right into the catacombs. So now we're down here in the catacombs, just like I mentioned earlier. So those 4 pillars right there, those are the moon phases. And you want to select full moon. I was thinking quickly, so I selected full moon by accident instead of new moon. But you want to select new moon. So in the order it goes in, it's 1, 3, 4, 2. So you want your new moon, your waxing moon, your full moon, your waning moon, and then boom, you have access to the rest of the catacombs. You do need to speak to Gothwin before you go in. So as you see, she runs up. You talk to Gothwin. You can quickly just run through her talking. She tells you about Radeon. You go into the ruins, and he's going to be up on the top of the pedestal. And there's 4 mounds of bones that you want to go to that's warded. Basically, she runs over to him, starts him up. You kill like 2, 3 skeletons that come out. Done deal. And then Radeon, he's going to start running off once you approach him after you do all 4 of the bone mounds. Honestly, something similar to this would have been really great for like the Necromancer class to get introduced. Not saying that the whole DLC they did for it wasn't, especially introducing elsewhere, but I feel like something like that would have been like a really nice like cherry on top. But that aside, you just run through the bone piles and then you go to confront Radeon. All right, so here we are. You get zapped, and then he runs off. You get up, you follow. You could technically get in there before him, and I was going to, but then I got caught on those rocks, and then yeah, whatever. But you follow him in this room, and it's a trap room, a giant trap room. And don't worry, it's not too hard. Really, it's pretty easy. So first thing you want to do is jump over this. You're never going to get spiked. Jump around that corner, and then run along this edge. And you're there at the end. You ain't got to deal with any of the traps or any of the few mobs they have sprinkled throughout that. And you're going to see old door split from Aurelian. Disable the traps. Gothwin comes through. And then you decide which one you want to have sacrifice themselves at the end. Alright, now that you selected somebody, I chose Aurelian. He's old. His student is, young. Fucking let her experience the world. Anyway, so once you do that, you're going to run in here. You're going to knock out all four little shrines in those corners. And when you do, it ends. Quest is over, completed, and then you get to leave. Once you're out of there, speak to Gothwin again. She's going to open up a portal after you give her the bad news that Aurelian is not coming back. And you just step through that portal, and you're back outside, and I kind of like it when it does this, so you get a nice little new area to you. It's the same area, but before it had a bunch of like skeletons walking around trying to attack you. Now it's just a bunch of souls that's sitting there. And as you can tell, also, if you look up the top left, you'll see that my friend has also joined Discord. So this is where me and him started talking for a second and started discussing running through all of Khenarthi, and he wanted to 100% it. So, and skipping all of that, it's just a bunch of running, but we're going to get to the next quest here. Talk to Sergeant Furion, and she's going to ask you to save 3 of her sailors. Technically 4 of them, and always suggested get the torchbug treckle because it saves time on part of this mission. Not saying you shouldn't. If you want to, technically there's more experience in it for you. But at this level, it's also so minor that pretty much any shortcut you could take while doing these quests, you might as well take them. As long as you're completing main story quests, that's when you're going to get your big chunk of XP that's really going to level you up. I really hate those ailets. They always are right there on top of the torchbug treckle, and it's annoying. I just really don't care to fight them because look, you only got, what was that, 75 XP? It's terrible. Anyway, but you talk to him, give him some torchbug treckle. Sometimes you can only collect 1 vial, and then you could dose it out among the 3, and sometimes you only have to collect all 3 vials and dish them out to the 3. This one I got unlucky and had to pick up 3 separate vials. Last time I only had to pick up 1. But anyway, you run through there, you give them all torchbug treckle, and then you go into the cave to look for number 4, who just so happens to have been killed. So, alright, and here's why I said that you want to give all 3 of them torchbug treckle, because you're going to talk to that guy, talk to her, and he has 3 things he wants you to do, and you could literally send out each one you save to go do that, and it's done in an instant. Like I said, you could do it yourself. You just get the most minor of XP out of it, but when you do, it's it's just not worth the time. So, like I said, any skips you want to make while doing the main starter zone, take them, because the main XP you're going to get is from completion of the actual story quest. Anyway, you want to talk to Captain Jamila and then run down here and speak to the whatever his name is, Mastingway, or her name, and whatever it is. Anyway, but you talk to them. They tell you about the lodestone. Don't be an idiot like I am, because several times I have inquired about the lodestone and ran off into this area to try to get on the ship and do the finishing objective. And I'm like, why can't I have a lodestone drop for me? Do I just have like this shitty of RNG? It turns out, no, RNG is not that shitty. It's the fact of you need to go talk to Mastingway and get that part of the quest done. So when you kill somebody like here, you actually get a lodestone. But, sometimes I'm like stupid. I'm very stupid most of the time, but you know, it's whatever. We're not worrying about that. So I got the lodestone now, and thank God I didn't make the mistake while recording, because so much wasted time on that. You run up to the ship. I wish this boss spawned more often because he's also a nice bit of XP, but everybody always kills him by the time I ever get there. Anyway, you gonna use the lodestone, free him, free a Khajiit on the other side of the boat, and then you run back to Captain Jamila, and she rewards you, and then from there you get to go to Mistal or Mistral, Mistral, Mistral. And as you can see, it's starting to get pretty choppy as far as video footage goes. Like I said, it's not gonna get any better until the end of this part. But yeah, talk to Razumdar, and then go find the Sylvanar. Gonna be in the main building. This one line of this little string of quests is all pretty much concentrated right there in Mistral. So you can fly through this part pretty quick. There's a lot of talking, a lot more talking than normal. The last two quests had a little bit more action. And this one's just kind of talking, run, talk, run, talk, run, talk. And then you get this final kind of like action-packed quest to finish off Khenarthi's Roost. So, and I'm just going to skip through. Just like I said, it's a lot of talking. There's no like real tough things to find throughout here. So just going to tab through it. And then we'll get to the more action-packed part of it. Oh, and another thing is I skip into this part here. Never, never, if you can avoid it, pay to continue on a mission. So this mission here, she wants 20 gold to let you into the ship, but there's always a way around that. And more often than not, you're eventually going to get the Fighters Guild skill line and the Mages Guild skill line. And from there, you can get the Intimidate and Persuade perk. And those also give you little cut-arounds on that. So you don't ever have to pay your way to continue on. Sometimes it's minuscule amount of gold, like that 20 gold. Sometimes it's like 200, and sometimes it could be more. It's just, it's never worth it, especially with how hard gold seems to be. Unless you're like in the really higher levels and you're getting gear that people want and selling them through guild traders and stuff. It just does not seem to be any good way to truly make gold that's worth your time, at least. Because there's ways to get a lot of gold, and like I said, it takes a lot of time. And oh my god, this footage is so terrible. I'm so sorry, guys. This will not happen in the next one, I promise. So this part here I thought was pretty funny, but hey you, stop that shit. Stop it. I had to walk in. So me knowing what I was about to walk in on, I was trying to make like a little stop it joke, like knock on the fucking table before you open the door and just like, hey, stop that shit. But my friend had a pretty fucking funny response that I was about to laugh my ass off on if I wasn't recording. And then when I looked back, I prayed to fucking God that that it captured what he said in the recording. And funny enough, it doesn't. You can actually, if you pay attention to the top left, you see where he talks. And not a single bit of that got transferred into the video. And I don't understand why. I thought Discord like natively had like voice sharing going and all that, but I guess not. But yeah. Now we're here where we talk to Commander Khenarthi, and this is where the action starts getting involved. So all the talking's done. The Sylvanar was dead. It turns out it was the Malmer elf that was behind the assassination. Then you want to stop the Green Lady from killing him, or let her kill him and resolve it that way, but whatever you want to do. And when you're done, it's over, and then somebody else comes to find you, tells you Captain Khenarthi wants you, and then you talk to these two bitches, and you pick one. I chose to do the mage. I always go for Captain Furion, because I'm usually running a mage, and I'm like, have somebody who gets up close. And it's yeah, this time I just wanted to do the mage. But anyway, you run through here. This is where you get to test out your newer abilities a lot because there's just a bunch of combat going on. And towards the end of it, there's this place where you start to fight some slightly tougher enemies than just your regular grunts. But yeah. And so around this time, I would like to shout out a channel that I am personally in fucking love with, first of all. So that channel is going to be Senza on YouTube. And this motherfucker, I swear to God, has some of the best fucking commentary. And I just kind of want to aspire to be like that one day, except for he also writes scripts. I don't know about writing scripts because I tried that with part one, and I wrote up a bunch of pre-information before I did any editing. And when I went to read it off, I was like, maybe I should edit the video first. And then I was like, yeah, as I'm editing the video, I'm not getting stuff lining up with how my script's going, so I'm just gonna freeform it. But yeah, this motherfucker here, much love to him and his fucking commentary and script that he does for all these videos. Pretty fucking funny. Check him out. And so this part here, just quickly running through, you just got to knock out 5 lodestone totems. And the big gist of it is this and 3 horns at the end of the mission is creating a brewing storm. And you have to put a stop to it. And once you do, a giant storm astronaut comes out, and apparently, oh, it's too tough for you, so you got to run off with Razumdar, and mission complete. Once you do that, you're home free to go to Volkelgard. And that's kind of what I did. I went on to Volkelgard, and I was discussing with my buddy up in Discord, as you see our names flashing. I was trying to figure out how far along the story he was, because eventually I'd like him, running along beside me, because just me and him doing dungeons together, it just brings back some old reminiscing things we used to do on PlayStation a lot. Because like I stated in the description of the last video, I used to have like a level 50, I think CP 300 something Storm Mage. Technically a Magican Mage, and I used a lot of the Storm Call abilities. And so I like to call him my Storm Mage. And, with not being able to transfer over characters and shit, you kind of have to restart when you move to PC. So, that being said, moved to PC, and I really clicked with this class. I've never clicked with another class in my life outside of the sorcerer. So, that being said, this is one class I really wanted to get to max instead of just fucking around with to pass time and yeah. So I really want to take this character to max, and I wanted to take you guys on the journey for it. Yeah, here's the horns, by the way. The horns that you have to disable, and you see the Storm Atronach in the middle creating a storm. He gets real pissy once you take out the 3rd horn, and then you run off with Razumdar. And like I said, me and my buddy were discussing, and turns out he decided to 100% Khenarthi's Roost. So once I went to Volkelgard, and then he said that, I was like, oh, okay. Well, I was going to end the part here and start recording another part. And yeah, so I ended the part, and then I started up another part of me going back and 100%ing Volkelgard. Not Volkelgard, 100%ing Khenarthi's Roost. Before he did, actually, and he actually had a head start, because I wasted time going to Volkelgard and messing around with OBS trying to get it to record smoother. So, like I said, you're going to run off with Razumdar at the end of this quest, and then you go across the water here. You see how choppy this is? Holy shit, man. How did I not notice that? It bothers me so much. But anyway, you'll notice every time I take the slightest inclination of damage from jumping off ledges, I'm using my heal ability. Because somewhere in the back of my mind, I have a firm belief that just using it gives you a little bit of XP towards it, and any bit of XP is worth it. Unless you're wasting your time. But, yeah, so there we go. I take off to Volkelgard in Aradon, and, yeah, we're going to do part 2, and I'll be returning back to Khenarthi's Roost to finish it up. Yeah. And with that being said, that's also going to be the end of the video for today. If you like it, please like, subscribe, post a comment down below. See if you like this style of video better than what I did last time. Um, I don't know why, but I feel like voicing over for this series would be better than live commentary, like I did for actual Skyrim when I was doing the mod playthrough. And still, if you have questions about that, like I said in the last video, I made a post in the community section actually explaining that. I had a nice long talk with one viewer actually. We was commenting back and forth in the comments of, I believe, my first video, and I was telling him about it as well. But yeah, I had this idea for this series because I really wanted to grind out this guy, and yeah, I wanted to take you guys along with me. So stop looking at the choppy shit in the background. Go ahead and tune into the next episode. Should be coming out not too long from now. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Kisses. Bye.